have been better. He was voiced wonderfully by Richard Armitage, from he's been in a lot of things, but I remember Richard Armitage as being Thorin Oakenshield in the Hobbit movies.
Mm.
Uh,
Hold on, guys. The
um,
stream ended.
what?
Oh, okay.
Um, Sally Jim.
Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, it's still going.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. All right.
All right. Keep. Sorry to
All right.
interrupt.
Live TV,
And we
baby. Live TV. Live
Yeah.
TV.
that's right. That's right. We
Oh, no,
back
hold
at
on.
it.
Hold on. Or did it end? Yeah, it did end. I think it ended. I don't know.
Rodney said you had to change titles. Yeah, I think it was just a title
Okay. Okay.
from
Okay.
the. I noticed that from Geekbeats, it had the same title up.
Okay. Okay.
Refresh. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about
Um,
that. Hmm.
that's all right. Chuck, you're right. If you're familiar with Tomb Raider, we don't need to do a whole lot of world building. One cool thing is with her being an archaeologist, kind of like Indiana Jones. She can be anywhere in the world. We don't got to do a whole lot. If you play the games, I only played the first game. I started to play the second, and I didn't play the last game at all.
Hmm.
Um, and kind of to Randy's point, I didn't need a lot of character development. What I didn't need a lot of backstory on the characters because I knew who they were because I played the game. So,
Hmm.
Let me ask y'all something though. With Lara Croft, she's a white woman, and she
hmm
is going to these ancient civilizations and going
hmm
in and literally raiding the tombs of all these ancient artifacts. And her family has benefited enormously from that. Her father was loaded, right?
Hmm.
hmm
So in our current environment, right, does this character still have relevance knowing how she and her family have accumulated that fortune? Because when I first saw it, I was thinking like, oh damn, this is. I was thinking Black Panther in the museum. I was like, oh damn, this is Tomb Raider. She raided this tomb to get rich and take from indigenous and other cultures. So it's this character, I guess, when I'm asking, do y'all think it still has relevance or pertinence? Or how is it impacting in this current like environment that we live on, the relevance of this character?
That
I,
is a good.
I'll, I-
Go
I'll
ahead.
answer. I'll give a really really quick answer. I think in the first episode, part of them making her more human, and maybe even to answer your question to a point, whether that was a question that they asked in their production or in a writing room. Um, we see Laura dealing with death, and in dealing with that death, she doesn't want anything to do really with everything that her father's amassed, and she auctions it off, she gives it away, she sends it to a museum. Like she's now, and I'm not saying that she's doing that out of completely, altruistic, uh, motives, but I think they deal with that a little bit. So I don't know. Relevance, I'm not really sure. As a matter of fact, I thought that the villain kind of came off as, to your point, Black Panther. I thought he kind of came off as a Killmonger, just an extremely weak version of Killmonger. He was a flip side of the same coin as Lara Croft, but I don't know. It just he came off as more as crazy than as a sympathetic character. So
Sure.
Yeah. I think this does still have relevance because the first thing she did in the first episode was donate everything.
Mhm.
She didn't want anything. It was like, she didn't care for any of it. She was raised a certain way, and she's that person. When you play the video games, you feel little bit different about her.
hmm
The video games, the last trilogy, show how she got to who she is today. What you see in the animated series, she was
hmm
kind of dainty in the beginning. She had some survival skills, but they weren't the greatest of survival skills. She's never had to
hmm
do it. She's been trained to do it, but never had to do it. And you see that.
Okay. I was just curious how the
yeah,
growth.
I do like when she was in that first tomb with um one of the guys. She, to your point, she said, I don't think that we should be doing this. Like she's reading
Hmm.
the carvings on the wall, and
Hmm.
so she, like if you take video games, compare Lara Croft to Nathan Drake from Uncharted. They're not the same person. It's a kind of the same path, but it's not. the same. He seems more like he's after for the thrill, and he really is a Tomb Raider, where that's just a moniker she has. She's not really a Tomb Raider.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And that was probably a conscious choice, I'm imagining, by the writers.
Mhm.
Well, this was the also the first Tomb Raider series that was adapted, and the showrunner is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if that makes any difference, because I didn't know that before watching. I didn't know that till a little while ago. So it doesn't really make a difference to me, but probably the way that Laura was portrayed and the way that they thought about handling her character, I thought was a little bit better than what we've seen in the past. Were there any standout performances that elevate the show for you guys?
The
Like
action was for me.
I,
It was the
I,
action.
the action.
I thought
I
the
would
action was
say,
a standout performance from me because I thought we got a
hmm,
lot of it. We got it fast and it was pertinent. I really enjoyed the action sequences that we got throughout the series.
Yeah. Standout performances. I think Jonah did a standout performance. That's played by the Geekish Network's Earl Balon.
hmm,
He's one of the hosts on
and
Pangeekery
geekery.
and Pots and Pangeekery. So I thought he did a really good standout performance. The person that irritated me the most, and I hate saying this, was Zip. I think Zip being in the ear of Laura the whole entire show, and him seeing everything was like, can he just be quiet? Can he go away for a little bit?
Yeah, that was Alan Maldonado.
Mm-hmm. Not saying he was bad. I think we got a lot of him.
Yes, one of Alan Maldonado is a character that I mean, I guess an actor that I really like, and I want to see him break out and finally get his shot, and he just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem to. I don't know. It's just something about his character where he doesn't really get a shot,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel
for
like
whatever reason.
he was the brains behind it, but I don't know. I didn't feel like his commentary was needed or like he
Mm-hmm.
didn't say things at the right time when the right thing was like it was all just one long joke with him. And I didn't feel like he provided good counsel for her in those tense moments or in those moments where when levity was needed, I didn't think he necessarily provided. And when levity wasn't needed, I didn't necessarily think he provided it. It
The
just,
only
Yeah.
reason I didn't mind Zip is because if you look at the movies with Angelina Jolie, you look at any of the video games with Zip,
Mm-hmm.
whether he talked a lot or whether he didn't, he always had a sarcastic nature. He didn't have much to say. And the only thing that they did different on this was they added a little bit more. They tried to add a little bit more humor that would be more natural to Alan Maldonado than some of the past actors who have played Zip.
Yeah.
Um, I a lot of people complained, but I liked Haley Atwell's voice as Lara Croft.
I
Yeah.
thought, right, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. And am I biased? Maybe. I do like me some Agent Carter. So I mean,
Yeah.
That is,
Captain America hung up the shield to go back in time to be with her. So I get it. Uh, I liked her voice. It provided a certain amount of British poshness and richness to her voice, but the way that she carried through the scenes, she was believable.
Yeah. I think she
Where
nailed it.
I like Richard Armitage's voice as the character, I just didn't like the character. So, and
Mm-hmm.
again, Jonah being the heart of the series, I really liked him. Every time he was on screen, he had something poignant to say.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Laura killed it. The actress who played Laura, she killed it
The
100%. One of the best.
Haley
Yeah.
Atwell.
Yeah,
Haley
I
Atwell.
thought it was actually the best performance of Laura Croft. I thought she was better than Angelina. I did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Angelina was modeled. Her character was really modeled off of the
Mhm.
early games. So I don't really think they cast Angelina for her acting skills.
I don't
I
think
could
they
be wrong.
necessarily did. I don't
Yeah.
think they did. And that's why probably a lot of the people you were talking about were complaining about the design of,
Hmm.
of Laura because it was like the early model of Laura Croft for like little teenagers, like, man, the
Yeah.
design is She's curvy. We'll put it like this. She's curvy.
That was all by accident. If y'all didn't know that,
I mean, it don't matter.
No.
It don't matter what
if
it was, but why was it by accident?
because back then when you had to make 3D models, when you pulled out the pixels, they can only go so far, and that's
Mm.
as far as they can go. For then she looked like a little boy, and because
Mm.
they flat chest, so when they pull the pixels for the first time, that's the minimum they could go out to. It was an
Okay.
early 3D
Oh,
model.
wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it was all
Um,
by accident.
that's crazy because that's what, people complain about, that she looked like, somebody who, as soon as you open up the old Twitter.com or something, that, that's what pops out at you. Oh,
Yeah,
hold on. Am I old enough
she
to
like
see
a
this?
film bot. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a
Right.
yeah,
fembot. Yeah.
I
And
didn't
people are
mind his
complaining
design.
about
Okay.
her lean, muscular look. She looked very athletic. And people don't like that. I was like, but are any of the people who are watching the show, did they play the games? Because
That- that's
Right.
exactly what I was thinking. Like they
yeah,
didn't
it's
play this
like,
last trilogy because she was built like she was built here.
But
yeah.
I would imagine just because of the things she does, she would be lean
Yeah,
and muscular.
and
She's an
that's exactly.
archaeologist that's escaping from raiders and running and like those types of things. So I would imagine she would have more of an athletic frame than like a busty centerfold kind of frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would serve her better.
You're absolutely correct. And the model that they have now is what Toby wanted. Like
Yeah.
her being lean and fit. They just
Yeah. 'Cause,
couldn't get there because of the graphics and it became the
Okay.
moniker of
At the
her.
time.
Yeah, at the
Mm.
time. Yep.
y'all know how some of those people be.
I
Some
think
of
it's
them
just trolling
people.
on the internet. It's just like
Yeah.
the trolls hop in and some of them are bots. It is
I
Mm-hmm.
what it
think a
is.
lot of them are bots.
Yeah, and it is what it is. They catch on to the negative comments
Right.
and they latch onto it and they
And
just
to feed
that's
the algorithm, they just one after another. Yeah.
yep, and exactly that's what happens. It's like it is a generic form of AI. What's the worst
Okay.
thing that's being said? Let's multiply that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then somebody will hop in and argue with that, and you keep people watching.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you guys find any recurring themes or motifs that added depth to the narrative? I'll start with what I saw, that about midway through, I was like, oh, I'm watching animated Fast and Furious, because this is
This
all
network,
about
obsession-
family.
this network's obsession with the Fast and the
It's all about family. I mean, Jonah, Zip, even our bad guy antagonist, Charles Devereaux. Everything was about family. Her her thing with Camilla, when she finally got her, everything was about family. So that was kind of what I saw about this, where, I guess them trying to humanize Laura. I saw that. Um, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but or saw something different.
I uh I saw it was about leaving the past behind. Like
Mm,
everybody was clinging to a past. Laura was clinging to the past, and everybody
hmm
around her was like living the now.
mm.
Like Zip even talking about the house and putting the pool in it with the water slide. You know, like this could be you. You can make it whatever you want to make it. It's up to you. Everybody that you're think is holding on to this house, all of them have passed away.
hmm
You say you're not holding on to these memories, but you're sure doing a good job of holding on to these memories.
Yeah.
See that.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
like the
that's
cultures. I love what they talk, and I don't know how true they were. Like I love talking about the Chinese mythology. I love
hmm
hearing about the themes of the stones, like the chaos and everything that they cause. I liked when they went to indigenous places and we got into the lore of those cultures, their mythology. So the mythology, which I would expect for a story about an archaeologist that's exploring the world and looking for artifacts and things to have. So I really like that. I like the respect that they have for the various cultures that they ran across.
Did you notice how that the when you dive deep enough into mythology, how things kind of carry over? So the story of the creation stones sounded very similar, even though it predates it by many thousands of years, to the story of Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yep.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Sorry
Um,
about that. More about him.
When the show ended, I wouldn't say it was a cliffhanger, but it definitely wasn't a period. It was more of a comma. How do you think the show handles its pacing and then like the potential of a cliffhanger?
Uh, I think it handled its pacing like a video game. It felt like a video game. Like when one thing got solved, they had another issue right on the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing got solved, they had another issue on the back of it. And it ended like the first or the full act of a video game. It felt like this could have been made into a 20-hour video game, 30-hour
Mm-hmm.
video game easily. But it felt the same way. And I think it ended like a video game. Not to harp on it too long, but that's what it felt like. That's how it ended. It's like, oh, I know another thing is coming.
And I
Okay.
guess that kind
I
of,
know something else is coming. Yep.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I thought we could have wrapped this up by episode 7. Episode 8 seemed extraneous to me. I was like, I don't want to go, I don't want to, no spoilers or anything, but I was like, you mean we got a whole nother 30 minutes? I was like, couldn't we just add it like 15 minutes or something onto it? I felt they could have wrapped it up in episode 7.
Yeah,
Episode 8 was a little extraneous for me.
I was completely surprised. I was like, wait, what are we doing here? And I was like, are they giving us what was that, Return of the King, Lord of the Rings, where, we wrap it all up in a pretty bow and send it on its way. And so I agree with that. I was kind of surprised by the way that it ended, more so. I don't know if it was really a cliffhanger, but it surprised me. So I guess, is this show season 1? We don't know, especially with how Netflix is and how the bots or how the trolls have been destroying the ratings of the show. We don't know if it'll have a season 2. Would you want a season 2, and is this show binge-worthy material for the people out here who are listening to the sound of our voice? If they have not watched this show, what is our recommendation to them?
I'll go first. I'm gonna stick with it being a full meal. And yes, I would look for a second season of this. I felt as though it gave me a video game adventure and animation, and it did a really good job of adapting that format. I always thought that format. It's funny we're in the golden age of video games turning into real properties, into flat
Mm-hmm.
screen properties and passive media. And I think that it did a really good job. I would be looking for a second one. I would want a bigger, better spectacles of things. I felt as though they had a limited budget. I think everybody was like, well, I don't know if this is going to do well or not. We don't have a hot, sexy fembot playing Lara Croft in live action. Let's put our toes in the water. Now at this
Mm-hmm.
point, I want them to plunge into it. So I
Okay.
would love to see a second season and them going all out with it.
And I'm on.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, let me jump in here because I want you to close it out, Randy. Um, I think I'm on board with that. I was really on the fence, whether this was going to be a mini meal or a full meal. Um, but I did find that I liked it a little bit more than just mid, and that's why I went a full meal. And I think I'm going to stay there based on our discussion. I did think it was solid, not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and much to Chuck's point, I would want to see more. X-Men 97 changed this. It changed the dynamic of how we consume stuff, especially animation. And even though this is true to the video game, especially the reboot trilogy, it's true to the games, and it felt like that. I can't watch animation the same anymore. So, okay, we got series 1. We did a little world building for people who are not familiar with the video games. Now I need foot on the gas. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Come on, Vin Diesel. Let's go, Dominic Toretto. Let's get it. So,
And I'll jump in at the end. So, Rakai, I actually think you really articulated what I was thinking, and I didn't know what I was thinking. The X-Men effect. It's the X-Men effect. It's like
mhm.
every frame is not wasted. And so in my mind, I'm thinking everything is that. And it didn't give me that high octane, elevated pitch. So I was just like, well, this a little okay. Had I
Yeah.
saw that before X-Men, I might have not had that same thing. I'm like, oh, it's
Hmm.
different property. But that's kind of what it was. So, and to piggyback what Chuck said, I don't really have anything to add to that. Like Netflix, give them the money that they need to make it visually appealing and to really like let us jump in and give us a really good villain, like give us all of
Hmm.
the elements that we can just jump into the deep end of the pool and go on this adventure with these characters, because I feel like the foundation was there. I just felt like I needed a little bit more, so I'm going to keep my rating at a mini meal for those reasons, because I did feel like I needed more. But I would be interested in seeing a season two. With the season two, I want them to get the full support that they need from the production, from the writing, from the plot, and all those things, and turn this into something that could be really, really good.
Okay, well, we all stayed at our original ratings, which is a 3.67. So that rounds up to a full meal. So that is we are recommending 4 out of 5. We are recommending that if you've not had a chance to watch Netflix Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft, that you check it out. We hope you're familiar with the games, but even if not, we think that you can enjoy this series. I had a lot of fun, guys. And again, any any final thoughts, Randy?
What are we doing next week? Or do we know yet?
That is an excellent question. And we will probably try to put out some media sometime soon to go over, because we have several choices. I think there's several things that are coming out tomorrow. So we have to talk about what do we want to watch over the weekend? What do we want to binge so we can give our best recommendation to our wonderful audience?
Okay. Well, Friday, on Geek Beast. It's happy hour.
Yes.
So, come
Happy
through for
hour.
happy hour. Grab you one of your favorite elixirs or alcoholic beverage, or even if you don't drink, come hang out with us where we do a little bit of news and we do a lot of fun. But let's try to make a bet to see how many stories we can get to before it falls off the rails. But
Oh,
regardless of how many stories we get through, it is going to be entertaining.
and
So
I will be there.
good stuff. So Friday at 10:30 Eastern or 8:30 Pacific, and you figure out the rest. Come back and join
7:30.
7:30%.
7:30. Okay. What I say? 7. Okay. 7:30
8:30.
Pacific. All right. So come back and join the Geekish Network for Geek Beast for happy hour.
Yes, we want to thank Digital Click for all of our graphics. If you've seen the wonderful graphic that she did for Tomb Raider and that she does for us every week, they can handle all your graphics and marketing needs. If you are in need of that, definitely hit up Digital Click. We have the greatest, and I do mean the greatest, technical producer in the land, Mr. Rodney Cajudo. We couldn't do any of this without him. And of course, I have my wonderful co-hosts, Mr. Johnny Randolph and Mr. Charles Babb. They are my brothers from other mothers. So we were
Shouts
glad.
out to
We're glad.
Courtney and Catherine
Yeah.
too. Courtney and Catherine.
Listen, we
Yeah.
have a strong cast of characters, and yes, tonight they didn't get a chance to finish it, so we're missing Courtney, we're missing Catherine, we're missing Dela. She hasn't been able to be with us this season. We had Trey on last week. He wasn't able to be with us tonight. So next week, you might see a completely different cast of characters, but we're going to be here to give you a recommendation of whether you should binge a show or not. We thank you and good night.
Peace.